Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for joining us for yet another video. Today I am working on, obviously, if you could tell by the thumbnail, a dollhouse. And no, it is not for me. It is for my youngest daughter. She wanted a dollhouse, but not just any dollhouse. It's one for an American Girl doll, or many American Girl dolls, because she has several. So that does matter when you start talking about the dimensions. The four cubbies that are in this particular one are around 24 inches wide by around 20 inches tall. Obviously, you could build this many different ways. This is my interpretation on it based off of a couple pictures that I saw online. So I start off with a full 4x8 sheet of half-inch finished plywood. I then ripped down several sections to 16 inches wide. I was able to get all of my boards that I needed to make the main portion of the house out of the one 4x8 sheet, aside from a basically half sheet of Luan or quarter-inch plywood, however you want to call it. So I had a additional sheet of 4 foot by 4 foot quarter-inch finished plywood that goes on to make the back. There's no sense in putting such an expensive piece on the back of it. That's just the backing of the house. So I cut those into strips. The peak of the roof, I ended up pretty much putting it on a 45-degree angle. How my square fit on there, I just used my framing square. I think it came down roughly 9 inches on either side, and that made the 45-degree angle peak that I cut 2 of the sheets at, and then obviously used 2 more sections of it full width of 4 feet wide to make the bottom of the house, and then the middle shelf board. That's what I'm nailing on now. I then used one of the other sheets that I had that came out of it, which actually ended up being a little bit shorter. I think it was round or narrower, however you want to say it. I cut it to 15 1/4 deep. That way, when I use my 3/4 inch 1x2 to face the whole thing out, which you'll see in a minute, everything fit in there, and those actually, it made the vertical dividers recessed a little bit. So here I'm putting on the quarter-inch paneling on the back of it, or quarter-inch plywood. That makes up the back of it. Like I said, that'll save you some money. The half-inch sheet was around $50. The quarter-inch sheet is around $29 as of 2025. So you can build this relatively inexpensive. I believe the 1x2 finished sticks that I put on it are around $5 or $6 now, I think, a piece. And you only need 2 of those. And then I use some shiplap to make up the roof, which you'll also see in a minute. And those are probably around the same, $8 to $10 a piece. They come in 8-foot lengths. This is the shiplap here. I wanted to use it because, again, it's thinner, lighter. I didn't want this thing being crazy heavy, and it also kind of gives it a more of a roof look for the top. So I just used my finished nailer. Now you could use other things on this if you wanted to use trim screws or other things to put it together. You don't necessarily have to use a finished nailer, but you may have to pre-drill it, as the half-inch ply is fairly thin. I did shoot several sections that you'll see me kind of have to wobble them out or break them off, where the shot ended up coming out sideways. So I did rip down the very last piece that I installed on the roof so that it wasn't hanging over as much. I should spin it around here in a minute. And then I end up finishing up the rest of the front of the roof. And then I get into trimming out all the boxes. And that also, it gives it a better finished look, but then also it does help to sturdy and stiffen everything up quite a bit. So here I'm measuring for my 1x2 trim face. And that's all this is, this white wood that I'm using here. It's just what they call 1x2. It's 3/4 of an inch thick by 1.5 inches wide. I use that on a lot of finished trim projects as well. But there you can see the vertical shelf boards. It's a good angle where you can tell that they are recessed a little bit. I don't end up putting one on the bottom because I didn't want to create a lip on the bottom, so I ended up just painting that face of the 1/2-inch plywood white, being as that it's basically flush with the floor. But it ended up trimming up really nicely, I thought. And then after this, I will move on to cutting in the fake window sections. I ended up just making a small template out of cardboard, nothing fancy. Found a small plate that actually was about the size that I wanted, and then I just moved it and traced it 4 times to cut it out for my template. And the windows are not perfect, but I think that's kind of what adds to the charm of it, is that it is a little bit more, not, like I said, not perfect, more kind of like a little cottage for her dolls. So here I'm just drilling some pilot holes to be able to get my jigsaw in, and then I just cut them out by hand, give them a quick sand with a piece of sandpaper, and then everything was pretty much ready for paint. I saved you the trouble of boring you to watch me prime this whole thing, and I just used some flat ceiling white to basically prime it all out, and then use some interior paint that I had tinted the paint to a believe it was, I don't recall actually the color of this pink. But anyways, I went to the store, just picked out a pink that I thought she might like, and then had them make me up a quart. And here it is, fully complete. We appreciate you hanging out with us on this video. If you like this and you got something out of the video, drop us a comment, a like, a share. But other than that, we appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you on the next video. Take care. Have a good day.